Hello everyone, ARG here with some more franchise Hockey Manager 8, and today we have flipped the calendar over and it is January of 1992, and we are still on our quest to attempt to win the Stanley Cup. I have a gigantic trade that is going to go through here in a couple of days. No, just joking, I wish. And I said that I was going to try and make a trade. I couldn't get anything done. There's one player that is on the trading block that I was maybe a little bit interested in, and I cannot get a deal done because he plays for Boston, and I think that Boston is sour over that huge offer I made for Ray Bork, and it's like they don't want to trade with me or something like that because they are asking way too much for Randy Burridge. So I wanted to try to make a trade for Randy Burridge and Glenn Wesley. And I thought it was Glenn Wesley that was like making it impossible to trade for, but even with just Randy Burridge it was ridiculous. So I was like, you know what, no. And then I looked at all the teams in the Wales conference because I would rather trade with a team in the other conference rather than in my own, and I really couldn't find anything that I kind of wanted. So here we are again with no trade on the menu. I know, it's not fun, but what do you want me to tell you? Alright, so with no trades on the horizon, unless something falls on my lap, I mean that's always possible, we're going to go ahead and get ready to play the month of January 1992. We are starting in 4th place here in the conference. We have one injury, which is Randy Ladouceur with day-to-day. Hey FJ, are you stalking me or something? That was, you're getting in real early here today. And looks like we're gonna have a decent amount. Oh yeah? So you decided to go through that. You didn't listen to my advice saying that it's gonna take a ridiculous amount of time, huh? Alright, so looks like we're gonna have a decent amount of games to play in January. The trading deadline is on 3/17, so that still gives me time to find something to do with that. Oh, gotcha. Are you getting all of your logos too and everything? Alright, so let's get this thing started. Important month here. We are 5 points behind the Oilers with 2 games on, and 6 points behind the Flames with 1 game on. Well, that's a very, very, very difficult endeavor, so congrats to you for at least attempting to do that. Alright, so a few players have been put on waivers, Rob Zettler being one of them, Dan Venslet, and then Anne Cote. Yeah, I have enough of those type of players. I don't really need Rob Zettler. Yeah, really was not an offensive juggernaut, was he? Alright, so we're just not going to claim him. And Bruce McNall is still satisfied with my work. We went 7-4 in December, so not the best record, but still a winning record. And we are now going to be hosting the Edmonton Oilers, so one of the teams we're chasing. A win here would be pretty huge. The Oilers are 22-9-8. They are 3rd in the conference, right in front of us, and we are 0-1-3 against them. After having 3 consecutive 4-4 ties against them, they rocked us 9-4 last time out. Yeah, let me know if you ever finish it. It takes a long time to do projects like that. It's super fun once it's completed. It's really fun, but it's a lot of work. All right. So a Randy Burridge-less Kings is hosting the Edmonton Oilers, where Bill Ranford is going to be in net for them. François Gravel in net for us. Go Kings! Come on, let's start with a win here. Oh yeah, Revenge has been enacted after being rocked 9-4. We trounced them 8-1 at home. Take that, Oilers. Oh yeah, their goaltending dumped in the shovel in that one. We were outshot 32-25. Luc Robitaille was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals and 2 assists. François Gravel was the second star with 31 saves. And Ray Shepherd was the third star with a goal and 2 assists. Yeah, we've seen last time that François Gravel is not always an elite goaltender. Sellout crowd here in Inglewood for the first game of 1992. We scored 4 unanswered goals here in the first period. Gary Galley opened up the scoring from Wayne Gretzky and Ray Shepherd. Then Ray Shepherd from Luc Robitaille and Joe Rickey. Scott Arneal scored from Alexander McGillney and Gerald Deduck. And then Wayne Gretzky on the power play from Luc Robitaille and Mike Gartner. 4-0 Kings after 1. Then in the second period, Brian Glynn scored from Andrew Castles and Ray Shepherd, made it 5-0. Then the Oilers scored, and then Luc Robitaille scored from Alexei Gusarov and Joe Rickey, 6-1 Kings after 2. Then in the third period, Luc Robitaille scored from Wayne Gretzky, and then Alexander McGillney scored the 8th goal for the Kings from Gary Galley and Mike Ridley, a 8-1 victory. And no fights in this game. Elite only when it matters, huh? Steve Larmer has achieved 300 goals in his career with a goal against the Rangers. Steve Larmer is 30 years old and he's a 4-star player. Oh man, Dan Cloutier, yeah. I'm sure Canucks fans have some memories of him. Brian Bellows extends his assist streak to 9 games with an assist against the Blues. Dino Ciccarelli extends his goal streak to 10 games. That's pretty impressive. 10 straight games with at least a goal for Dino Ciccarelli. He has 2 goals and an assist in that same game against the Blues. However, Dave Gagne's assist streak ended at 9 games. He did get a goal, but didn't get an assist in the game. Alright. Now we have a day off, and then we're going to be hosting the Flyers. Oh, it's going to be our first game of the year against them. What Zeno Ciccarelli fun fact? Maybe I do know it, but maybe it's not coming on top of my head right now. Right, Steve Duchesne is back from suspension in Philadelphia, and as I saw when I was looking at who was on the block, Steve Duchesne is on the trading block. I cannot trade for him, obviously. I traded him away. I did not know that about Zeno Ciccarelli. That's a good one. Right, the Leafs are offering me Jeff Christian for Ken Gernander. Yeah, I cannot trade for Jeff Christian. I'm going to have to say no. Alright, so the Flyers are in town now. They have a 10-18-9 record. That's not very good. Maybe that's why they're trying to trade Duchesne maybe for some younger pieces. Although Duchesne shouldn't be that old in 1992. Nonetheless, let's take a look at them. Oh, they have some injuries. Dave Poulin is hurt, not going to be able to play. Shel Samuelson is also hurt, not going to be able to play. And Mark Howe, same thing, hurt, not able to play. Yes, I thought we looked at that. Oops. It would help if I spell it properly. Yeah, there he is. In an independent league. No, I don't have to get him. Alright, let's continue to look at the Flyers. We looked at their injuries. In net, they have Ron Extall and Darren Pupa. On D, they have Terry Cartner, Steve Duchesne, Eric Weinrich, Bloomberg, Doug Uda, and Kerry Hoffman. Up front, they have Bozek, Craven, Prop, Jeff Courtnall, not Sean Couturier, it's Sylvain Couturier, sorry. Pelly Eklund, Miller Ritchie, Peter Zezel, Freer, Hall, McDermott, and Rick Tocchet. They only have 21 players on the roster. They're going to be a defenseman short as well here, unless they recall one right before the game. Sylvain Couturier is now a 2-star player. He's improved now that he's away from LA. Alright, let's see if we can win this one. Darren Pupa is going to be in net for the Flyers. Francois Gravel back in net for the Kings. Go Kings! Come on! That's a 6-1 loss. That's not good. The Flyers are not good. Again, we're struggling against bad teams. No, you cannot make up a rule so just so you have to. It's already complicated enough for me as it is. So we're going to keep with the rules that we have. Alright, so we were destroyed 6-1 against a bad team. We outshot them 29-28. Pele Eklund was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Eric Weinrich was the second star with no points. And Steve Duchesne, former Eddie King, was the third star with 2 assists. Another sellout crowd in Inglewood, but it didn't go very well for the Kings in that one. Flyers scored 3 unanswered goals in the first, and it was 3-0 Flyers after 1. Then they added 2 more goals in the second. It was 5-0 after 2. Didn't look very good. Went into the third period. They made it 6-0. And then Luc Robitaille took the shutout away with 2 minutes and 25 seconds left to play in the third from Wayne Gretzky and Gerald Deduck. That was a 6-1 loss for the Kings. They did recall a defenseman for that game. Oh, that's a lot of news. Alright, so dynamic passing leads to productive night for Don Biggs. He had 4 assists against the Flames. Doug Gilmour extends his assist streak to 10 games. In that same game, he had an assist. Dave Christian has recorded 300 goals in his career. He had a goal and an assist against the Whalers. Dave Christian is 32 years old and he's a 3-star player. Sylvain Turgeon extends his goal streak to 5 games with a goal in that same game against the Capitals. Brian Bellows extends his assist streak to 10 games with an assist against the Canucks. Dino Ciccarelli scored in an 11th straight game with a goal and an assist in that same game. New Jersey's Lyle O'Deline is suspended. He's going to miss 3 games. Joe Sakic extends his point streak to 12 games with 3 assists against the Islanders. So it looks like Sakic went right back at it, right? So we stopped his point streak at 29 games when he played against us last time out. And now he started another streak. He's already up to 12 games. And red light stays on for Brett Hull. He had a hat trick against the Red Wings. Alright, we have a couple of days off, and then we're going to be in Pittsburgh to play against the Penguins. Brian Bellows extends his point streak to 12 games. He had an assist against the Blackhawks. And it was 11 straight games with an assist for him. Yeah, Brett Hull was pretty good at hockey, indeed. We would have to give that to him. Was pretty good at scoring goals. Didn't necessarily extends his goal streak to 12 games. He had 2 goals and an assist against the Hawks in that same game. That's 12 straight games with a point as well, obviously. Dave Gagne extends his point streak to 12 games with a goal in that same game. Craig McTavish is injured. Maybe he should wear a helmet like on his picture that we have there. 8 months. A ruptured disc. Ouch. Doug Gilmour extends his point streak to 12 games with a goal in that same game. However, his assist streak ended at 10 games because that's all he got was that goal. And then Yves Racine extends his assist streak to 8 games with an assist in that same game. Miroslav Freiser is on waivers, and Wayne Gretzky is sick. So maybe the flu, he's got COVID. He got COVID before everybody else. Gretzky was so good, so ahead of his time that he caught COVID way before everybody else. Well, that sucks. Hopefully it won't be for too long. What does it say here? Fever day to day. So we don't get to have a Wayne against Mario game. Wayne will not be playing this game. Pittsburgh is 26-12-3 this season. We have not played them so far this season. Let's take a look at their lineup. Randy Cunnywort is hurt. He's not going to be playing this game. Don Beaupre and Jarmo Millis are in net. Paul Coffey, Charlie Odde, Lubomir Sekerash, Richard Schmelik, Zardy Zadabski, Doug Bodger, Dean Kennedy, Mike Layler, and Richie Lanz are on D. Bob Harry, Troy Loney, Kevin Stevens, John Cullen, Dave Annan, Mario Lemieux, Dan Quinn, Sean Van Allen, Phil Bork, Frawley, Johnston, and Recchi are up front. That's a pretty solid team. It's going to be challenging, especially without Gretzky for that one. Alright, so François Gravel back in net for us. Don Beaupre in net for Pittsburgh. Go Kings! Oh, without Gretzky, we lost 5-4. A 1-goal game. Maybe if we had Wayne, it would have tipped in our favor. We outshot Pittsburgh 38-31. Richie Lanz was the first. Rick Lanz, sorry. I keep calling him Richie for some reason. Was the first star of the game with 3 assists. Ray Shepard was the second star with a goal and an assist, and Zardy Zalapski was the third star with a goal and an assist. I'm sorry, I got confused because Zardy Zalapski is one of my favorite hockey name ever. Alright, so Pittsburgh scored first in the first period, then Alexei Gusarov tied the game from Andrew Castles and Ray Shepard, and then Ray Shepard scored from Randy Wood and Andrew Castles. It was 2-1 Kings after 1. Then in the second period, Pittsburgh tied the game. It was tied at 2. Then in the third period, Luke Robitaille scored his 30th, giving us the lead from Alexander McGillney and Mike Ridley. And Pittsburgh scored 3 unanswered goals. It was 5-3. Luke Robitaille scored his 31st from Mike Ridley and Rick Green. It was 5-4, and we had 3 minutes and 2 seconds left, but we just couldn't tie the game. And then there was a fight between Troy Loney and Adam Burt, and we lost by a goal. Good game for Rick Tocchet. He had 4 assists against Buffalo. Lou Vero may be fired. He's the coach for San Jose. Of course, San Jose is an expansion team and they're not doing all that great. They're 11-26-5. No leniency in San Jose. First year, a team put together very, randomly, and, better perform or we're going to replace you. The life of a head coach. Brian Bellows extends his point streak to 13 games. He had an assist against the Caps. That was 12 straight games with an assist for him. Dino Ciccarelli scored in a 13th straight game. That is crazy. 1 goal against the Caps. That was 13 straight games with a point, of course. And Dave Gagne extended his point streak to 13 games as well with an assist. Who's going to stop Dino Ciccarelli? Maybe it's going to be us. We're playing Minnesota on the 22nd. We stop Sakic, we can stop Ciccarelli. Joe Sakic extends his point streak to 13 games with an assist against Buffalo. Doug Gilmour's point streak ended at 12 games. He was held scoreless against the Sharks. And Yves Ressen's assist streak ended at 8 games. No points for him against the Jets. Yes, Joe Sakic was very good at hockey. I liked him very much as a kid. He was my favorite player. Back in '92, I knew Joe Sakic, but I didn't really know Nick Lidstrom yet. So Sakic was my favorite player at that time. Alright, so we are in Philadelphia to play against the... Nobody is as good behind the net as Ed Ronan, as I learned during a telecast in Quebec. Alright, so the Flyers are now 12, 18, and 9. Of course, we are 0-1 against the Flyers. They rocked us 6-1 earlier, and we have to do it. Yeah, we have to do it with without Gretzky. So, Gretzky was pretty close, but yeah, it's not called the Ed Ronan office for no reason, you know. Alright, François Gravel in net for us. Still Ron Extall in net for Philadelphia. Come on. Another 1-goal loss. We lost 4-3. The absence of Wayne Gretzky is being felt. We outshot Philadelphia 38-33, so we're outshooting the opposition, but we are unable to win. Jody Hull was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Mike Gartner was the second star with 2 goals. And Brian Propp was the third star with a goal and an assist. A 4-3 loss. I don't know if I mentioned it or not. Brian Glynn opened up the scoring in the first from Alexander McGillney and Robert Reichel. Then the Flyers tied the game. It was tied at 1. After 1. Then in the second period, Mike Gartner scored from Luc Robitaille and Joe Rickey. Made it 2-1. Then the Flyers scored twice. 3-2 Philadelphia after 2. There was a fight between Rick Tocchet and Gerald Deduck. Then in the third period, the Flyers made it 4-2. Mike Gartner close to the midway point in the third, scored on the power play from Andrew Castles and Ray Shepard. It was 4-3. We just couldn't tie the game. Rick Tocchet got also into a fight with Robert Reichel, of all people. 4-3 loss. We need Wayne to come back. Suspension over for Kerry Hoffman, back in the lineup in Philadelphia. Joe Sakic extends his point streak to 14 games with an assist against the Bruins. Brian Bellows' point streak ended at 13 games. Didn't get a point against Detroit. And his assist streak, of course, also ended at 12 games. Oh, Dino Ciccarelli didn't score in that game. He did get an assist, so his point streak continues at 14, but his goal streak ended at 13 games. That's crazy. Dave Gagne extends his point streak to 14 games. He had a goal in that game against Detroit. Brad Lauer extends his goal streak to 5 games with a goal against the Devils. Randy Ladouceur is getting close to returning. That's good. And then we have a trade proposal from the New Jersey Devils. Oh, Steve Tsujiro's been on waivers 7 million times. For Ken Gernander, no. 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 And we are now in Washington to play against the Caps. Capitals are 24, 14, and 5. That's a pretty good record. We have not played against them this season, and Gretzky is still unable to play. He has a fever. Maybe? I don't remember. You can look it up and let me know. Alright, Scott Mellenby and Kevin Hatcher are both hurt and not gonna play. Those are two pretty good players. So we are going to be facing Clint Malarchuk, Andy Moog in net, Bill Older, Grant Ledyard, Stevens, Scott Stevens, Hervé, Larry Murphy, and David Shaw on D. Up front they have Brent Ashton, Miller, Piplinski, Sinisalo, Danton Cole, Dale Hunter, Leach, Nichols, Buckberger, Christian Drews, Gustafson, Ayworth, and Mikael Renberg. Yeah, a win would be pretty great here. Alright, I wasn't 100% sure. I thought it was his uncle. That's what I thought, but I wasn't 100% sure. Artus Irby is going to be in net for that one. Clint Malarchuk in net for the Caps. Hopefully, Irby has some of his last year magic in him, in his old brown pads. Come on, Kings, let's go. Oh, a win! 4-2, finally. We won a game without Wayne Gretzky. We outshot Washington 43-37. Robert Reichel was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Dale Hunter was the second star with 2 assists. And Gary Volk was the third star with an assist. Washington scored first, then we tied the game. Mike Gartner from Robert Reichel and Luc Robitaille. Then in the second period, Washington took a 2-1 lead, and it looked like we were going to lose again. But we scored 3 unanswered goals in the third period. Robert Reichel from Ron Duguay and Brian Glynn. Then Alexander Mogilny scored his 5th on the power play, unassisted. It was 3-2 Kings. And then Dan Gratton scored his first, a short-handed goal in an empty net from Gary Volk and Gerald Deduck. 4-2 Kings, the win. Alright, hopefully Gretzky's starting to recover from his fever here. I mean, that's been, what, like 5 days? He probably should go to the hospital at this point. Randy Ladouceur back soon. That'd be great. Tony Tanti has been put on the trading block by the Canucks. All right. Come on, Wayne. Take some ibuprofen or something. Oh, that's going to hurt the Oilers. Yves Racine is hurt. He's going to be out for 6 weeks with an acute elbow soreness. Oh, 6 weeks. I think it was 6 months. I don't know English very well. No, I do. But in my head it was 6 months for some reason. Alright. Suspension for Perry Turnbull. He is going to miss 4 games for not Calgary, San Jose. Zeno Cicerelli extends his point streak to 15 games with 3 assists in that same game against the Sharks. Dave Gagne extends his point streak to 15 games, a goal and an assist in that same game. Joe Sakic also extended his point streak to 15 games. He had 2 goals and an assist against the Rangers. And Randy Ladouceur might be coming back here soon. My favorite hockey name, oh god. I always liked Curtis Lesishin, mostly because I never remember how to spell it, but Zardy Zalapski is pretty hard to beat as far as I'm concerned. Darcy Wakaluk, yeah, I think it would be probably a tie between Curtis Lesishin and Zardy Zalapski. Alright, we are in New Jersey to play against the Devils. Devils don't have a really good record right now. They are 15, 22, and 5. We are 1-1 against the Devils. Hopefully we can beat them. I think we're still without Gretzky, right? Yeah. That's a long-ass fever, Wayne. Please don't die. François Gravel is back in net for us. Sean Burke is going to be in net for the Devils. Go Kings! Oh, a 5-4 overtime win. Alright, we'll take it. We'll take it. So, of course, in 1992, there's no overtime loss points for the Devils. That just counts as a regular loss. Oh, look at that. We outshot them 52-30 in that game. Andrew Castles had a great game, a goal and 3 assists. Patrick Sundstrom had 2 goals and an assist and the second star. And Ray Shepard was the third star with a goal and an assist. Ray Shepard opened up the scoring in the first from Andrew Castles and Randy Wood. It was 1-0 Kings after 1. Yeah, well, I don't feel that bad for Sean Burke. I needed a win. Alright, so there was a fight between John McLean and Gerald Deduck, and then another fight between Claude Loisel and Gerald Deduck again. Right, then the Devils scored 3 unanswered goals in the second period. It was 3-1 New Jersey after 2. And then in the third period, Andrew Castle scored his 10th on the power play from Luc Robitaille and Gary Galley. So we were within 1. The Devils scored, made it 4-2. Then we tied the game. Mike Ridley from Luc Robitaille and Mike Gartner. Then Dan Gratton from Gary Volk and Andrew Castles. That game went to overtime, and the hero was Randy Wood, scoring his 10th from Ray Shepard and Andrew Castles. 5-4 victory for the Kings. Awesome. Joe Rickey got hurt. That part is not awesome. Hopefully it's not for too long. Day to day. We should be okay. Corneal abrasion. Wow. Lilo Deline is back from suspension for the Devils. Back in the lineup. So we didn't face him. Jaromir Jagr extends his goal streak to 5 games with a goal against Pittsburgh. Ah, look at that. Wayne Gretzky back soon. Yes, please. Randy Ladouceur says, I am ready. Alright, Randy Ladouceur finally 100%. That took a while. So is Gretzky able to play? Yes, he can play with a fever. He's just going to sweat more. Wow, Dino Ciccarelli is on a tear this month. He had, oh dear God, 3 goals and 4 assists against the Oilers. You could have picked Jocelyn Lemieux. Played for the Blackhawks for a little bit. Because I hate Claude Lemieux, and I hate his son, biting little stitches, or a word that rhymes with that. But I'd take Wayne Gretzky with Jocelyn Lemieux over Mario Lemieux and Brent Gretzky, I think. But just because you've put Claude Lemieux in there, I would have to go with Mario Lemieux and Brent Gretzky. Alright, so Dino Ciccarelli with a 3 goals and 4 assists performance against the Oilers. That's pretty dang strong. That was 16 straight games with a point for him. Dave Gagne had 6 assists in that same game. That was 16 straight games for with a point for him as well. Mike McPhee extends his goal streak to 5 games with a goal against the Flames. Gary Roberts extends his point streak to 12 games with an assist in that same game against the Habs. Gretzky is almost back fully. Oh, there's been a trade between the Flames and the Devils. Darren Veitch and Andrzej Ignatovic. Oof, That's a little hard for this poor French Canadian to pronounce. Went to Calgary, and Dana Merzen and Brett Seguin go to the Devils. So Dana Merzen is the best player in that trade, and I think that the Devils won this trade here. Well, yeah, Rob Brown did, so, you know, anybody can. Kevin Stevens was like a super great player next to Mario. It was a little tougher for him after he moved away from Pittsburgh. Alright, the Sharks are in town. They are 11-28-6. That's good for dead last in the conference, but don't take them too lightly, please, because we have been struggling against the Sharks this season. We are 2-2-1. So hopefully we win. I think Gretzky's going to be back in the lineup. Oh, yes, he is. Look at that. Gretzky's office. They don't know that it's Ed Ronan's office, obviously. I'm gonna need to message Jeff and Adam on the boards. I would be a defenseman, so yeah, I don't know that I would score 15. Alright, so the Sharks picked up Tom Barrasso on waivers. That trade made no sense. It's going to be in net for the Sharks. François Gravel is in net for us. Go Kings, come on. 5-2 victory, awesome. Well, I know that, but who knows? I mean, in those years, the Pens had Paul Coffey, so Paul Coffey was out with Mario, so I was probably going to be out with, I don't know. We outshot the Sharks 48-24. Gerald Deduck was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Randy Wood was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Luc Robitaille was the third star with 2 goals. Sellout crowd in Inglewood for this game. Sharks strikes first. In the first period, it was 1-0 Sharks after 1. Then Randy Wood scored in the second period from Mike Ridley and Alexander McGillney. Randy Ladouceur from Robert Reichel and Brian Glynn, 2-1 Kings, but the Sharks tied the game before the end of the period. It was tied at 2 after 2. There was a fight between Andrew Castles and Peter Taglianetti in the second period. Then in the third period, Luc Robitaille scored from Joel Deduck and Gary Galley. Gary Volk scored short-handed. I think all of Gary Volk's goals have been short-handed, except maybe his first. From Randy Wood and Joel Deduck made it 4-2, and then Luc Robitaille scored in an empty net from Wayne Gretzky and Mike Gartner. 5-2 Kings, the final score. I'm actually gonna go and look it up. I think that all of Gary Volk's goals have been short-handed. Chris Dahlquist in Chicago is suspended. He's gonna miss 6 games. Gary Roberts extends his point streak to 13 games with a goal against the Nordiques. Joe Sakic extends his point streak to 16 games. In that same game, he had an assist. And Wayne Gretzky doesn't have a fever anymore. About time. Okay, no. 4 of his 6 goals have been short-handed. Still, that's pretty impressive. Rob Zettler also wouldn't score many goals in those years. Well, I guess Rob Zettler didn't play much in the 80s. It was mostly in the 90s, but still. Because I looked at him earlier. Alright, we have a day off and then we're hosting the Caps. Mark Messier reaches 400 goals in his career with a goal against the Canucks. Mark Messier is 30 years old and still a 5-star player. Not FJ's favorite. Dino Cicerelli's point streak ended at 16 games. Didn't get a point against Montreal. Dave Gagne, however, extended his to 17 with an assist in that same game. And Pierre Turgeon extends his assist streak to 8 games with 2 assists against the Devils. Alright, Washington is in town. They are 25, 15, and 6 now. We did win in Washington just a few games ago. It was a 4-2 win after losing like 3 in a row or something. So we are 1-0 against them. I don't have one. I followed the cards a little bit because I got friends here at work with a guy that's a huge cards fan, so I kind of watched them maybe a little bit more, and I kind of followed a little bit the Padres as well, but I don't really have a team since the Expos moved. Alright, Clint Malarchuk in net for the Caps. François Gravel in net for us. Go Kings! Give me another win. A 5-2 victory on home ice. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, another good performance on shots. We outshot Washington 55-27. Luc Robitaille was the first star of the game. He had a goal and 3 assists. Mike Gartner was the second star with a goal and 2 assists. And Gary Galley was the third star with 2 assists. Sellout crowd yet again in Inglewood. Randy Ladouceur opened up the scoring from Alexander McGillney and Scott Arneal. Then the Caps tied the game. It was tied at 1, but Luc Robitaille gave us the lead back from Mike Gartner and Gary Galley. It was 2-1 Kings after 1. Rick Green scored in the second period from Wayne Gretzky and Luc Robitaille to make it 3-1. Then the Caps came to within 1 with a goal, and then we scored again. Mike Gartner scored his 20th on the power play from Luc Robitaille and Gary Galley. 4-2 Kings after 2. There was a fight between Adam Burt and Scott Stevens. Oh, Adam Burt a little courageous here. And then in the third period, Ray Shepard scored on the power play from Luc Robitaille and Mike Gartner, made it 5-2. And that was the end of the game. Nice little 5-2 game against the Washington Capitals. I don't think so. I just recently looked in my out of the park save in 1995 where I play as the Expos, and the Mariners at the end of May in my save are like 9-33 or something like that. And I had a little thought for you. Chris King in Detroit got suspended. He's gonna miss 7 games. Brian Propp is hurt in Philadelphia for 5 months. That's not good. He has a fractured hip. Yeah, that's gonna hurt. Gary Roberts' point streak ended at 13 games. Didn't get a point against the Rangers. And Joe Rickey might be back soon. Well, in my universe, they don't have Ken Griffey Jr., right? They let him go, and he signed with the damn Yankees. So, oh, we have a 5-day break. That might be because of the All-Star game. All right, Joe Rickey feeling better. Washington put Brent Ashton on the block. Yeah, I told you that. I told you that Ken Griffey Jr. signed with the Yankees in my universe. Yeah, I think it's the All-Star break. There's no games being played. That allowed Joe Rickey to come back from injury. And we're going to play against a Minnesota team that has some players that are on fire. Terry Murray might lose his coaching job in Winnipeg. The Jets are 14-27-7. That's not good enough. Joe Sakic extends his point streak to 17 games with a goal against the Canucks. And Pierre Turgeon extends his assist streak to 9 games with an assist against the Blues. Yeah, I would probably repress it too. It's like, you know, I had to repress that in my first season in this run, the Abs won the cup. It's been tough. I haven't been coping with it very good. I resorted to alcoholism. I haven't, but I thought about it. Alright, so we are in Minnesota to play against the North Stars. North Stars are 22, 16, and 5. That's not too shabby. That's good for 5th in the conference. They are right behind us. We are 1-0-1 against Minnesota this season. Let's see if we can beat them. François Gravel in net for us. Bob Essensa in net for Minnesota. Go Kings! Oh yeah, 9-2 victory. Look at those shots again. Wow, we're a shooting machine all of a sudden. We outshot Minnesota 57-29. Wayne Gretzky was the first star of the game. 3 goals and 3 assists. That's pretty good. Mike Gartner was the second star with 3 assists, and Alexander McGillney was the third star with a goal and 2 assists. Scott Arniel opened up the scoring in the first from Wayne Gretzky and Alexander McGillney. Then Gary Galley scored on the power play from Wayne Gretzky and Ray Shepherd. Wayne Gretzky scored his 35th from Mike Gartner and Gerald Deduck. 3-0 Kings after 1. Then in the second period, Andrew Castle scored from Alexander McGillney, made it 4-0. Then the North Stars scored their 2 goals. It was 4-2. But then Lou Robitaille scored his 35th from Gerald Deduck and Wayne Gretzky. 5-2 Kings after 2. There was a fight between Mark Hardy and Joe Rickey. Then in the third period, Robert Reichel scored from Ron Duguay and Ray Shepherd. Then Wayne Gretzky scored from Mike Gartner and Luc Robitaille. Alexander McGillney scored on the power play from Andrew Castles. And then Wayne Gretzky completed his hat trick from Mike Gartner and Brian Glynn. 9-2 the final score. Bob Rouse and Gerald Deduck face punched each other. And that was a wonderful win. Dave Gagne's point streak ended at 17 games. He didn't get a point against us. There was no stopping Wayne Gretzky. As we say, he had 3 goals and 3 assists. Good game for Doug Gilmour. He had a goal and 5 assists. 6 points for him as well. That's not too bad. That was against the Rangers. And Gary Roberts in that same game had a goal and 4 assists. Yeah, I know. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that it happened. It would have been awesome if he would have landed with the Exposed, though. Man. I mean, I love having Kirby Puckett on my team, but it would have been awesome to have Ken Griffey Jr. on my team. Alright, we are in St. Louis to play the Blues. Blues are 27, 17, and 3. That's good for 2nd in the conference. They are leading their division. We have not played the Blues so far this season. Let's take a look. No injuries. Alright, so... Oh, there's a lot of suspect players there. Alright, so Alan Bester and Greg Millen in net. Robert Dirk... Wait, that was his name, right? Rob Dirk, yeah. Rob Dirk, Gaston Gingras, Brian Benning, Bourgeois, Lavoie, Gordy Roberts on D, Lauer, Laurie, McKigney, Momesso, Cavallini, Brennan Moore, Bullard, Urkush, Cliff Running, Matt Sundin, Brettel, Napier, Paslowski, Raglan, and Steve Tuttle up front. Let's see if we can beat the Blues. Artus Airbase is going to be in net for that one. Greg Millen in net for the Blues. Do we have another 9-2 victory in the tank? No, but it was a 5-2 victory. That's still fairly acceptable. 5-2 win in St. Louis. We outshot them 36-33. Mike Gartner was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals and 2 assists. Gary Galley was the second star with 2 assists, and Gerald Deduck was the third star with an assist. Wayne Gretzky opened up the scoring in the first. That was a power play goal from Mike Gartner and Gary Galley. Then Mike Gartner from Scott Arniel and Randy Ladouceur. 2-0 Kings after 1. So are you still at your parents right now, or did you go back to your place? Right, then in the second period, the Blues tied the game. They scored 2 goals, and there was a fight between Dave Laurie and Adam Burt. Then in the third period, we scored 3 unanswered. Mike Gartner from Joe Rickey and Alexei Gusarov. Then Ray Shepard scored his 15th from Randy Wood and Gary Gaddy. And then Luc Robitaille from Mike Gartner and Gerald Deduck. 5-2, the final score. For the Kings, another win. That's good. Oh, I see. So you made sure that you got filled up with some home cooking and all of that stuff, right? Then you're going to go back to your place, weighing maybe 30 more pounds or something. Or you're gonna have to, work all of that extra weight off. The good old holiday home cooking treatment. Oh, Brett Hull got hurt in that game against us. He's day-to-day, so he has a hand contusion. Get back in the rink and play, Brett. Excellent passing leads to productive night for Craig Janney. He had 4 assists against the Habs. No one could stop Cam Neely in that same game. He had 3 goals and an assist. Joe Sakic extends his point streak to 18 games with 2 assists against the Hawks. A strong night for Dave McElwain with the Oilers. He had a hat-trick against the Rangers. Rick Tocchet is hurt in Philadelphia. He's going to miss 5 months with a torn ACL. Well, that's going to hurt the Flyers. And Pierre Turgeon's assist streak ended at 9 games. Didn't get a point against the Pittsburgh Penguins. All right, we have 3 games left here in January. Next game is an important one. We are going to be hosting the Flames. Oh, we caught up with Edmonton and Calgary. We all have 61 points. Yeah, it is going to be an important game for real. We can leapfrog everybody. Perry Turnbull is back from suspension in San Jose, back in the lineup. And John McLean is on the trading block. Right, Flames are in town. They are 29, 13, and 5 as it stands. They played yesterday and they won. So they are atop of the conference with 63 points, but we could catch up to them with a win here. We are 1-1-1 against the Flames, so a win here would be huge. Come on, give it to me. Wayne Colley is going to be in net for the Flames. François Gravel is going to be in net for us. Go Kings! Come on! Big game. I thought François Gravel was elite only when it mattered. I guess that theory just went down the shitter. We lost 7-3 at home against the Flames. We were outshot 47-36. Doug Gilmour was the first star of the game. He had 3 assists. Stu Grimson, of all people, was the second star with 2 assists. And Al McInnes was the third star with a goal and an assist. Oh, I see. He decides when it matters, huh? Sellout crowd in Inglewood. The Flames scored first in the first period. Then we tied the game. That was Mike Gartner from Andrew Castles and Gary Galley. Then the Flames took the lead again, and then we tied it again. Alexander McGillney from Scott Arniel and Rick Green. It was tied at 2, but the Flames scored again before the end of the period. It was 3-2 Flames after 1. Then in the second period, things got a little dire there. The Flames scored 3 straight goals. It was 6-2. Alexei Gusarov scored for us from Wayne Gretzky and Luc Robitaille. It was 6-3 Flames after 2. There was a fight between Joe Rickey and Al McInnes. And then in the third period, the Flames added 1 more goal, 7-3 the final score. So yeah, we needed that one, and we dropped it. Cam Neely extends his goal streak to 5 games. He had a goal against the Raiders. A night to remember for Kurt Muller, hat-trick against the Wings. Joe Sakic's point streak ended at 18 games. He was held scoreless against the Jets. Jeff Courtnall extends his point streak to 12 games. He had 2 goals against the Maple Leafs. And Al McInnes extended with the Flames for... that's going to be, what, 3 years? No, wait. 4 years? Yeah, I think that's a 4-year contract. I'm not really good at math, but I think that's a 4-year deal. All right, we have a few days off, and then we're going to be hosting the Blues. All right, Jean-Marc Richard has been put on waivers by Buffalo. I don't think that his ratings are not great. That's what I thought. That's one of those cases where the player is a star and a half, but you look at the ratings and really he's not really good at anything. Sylvain Turgeon keeps fans on their feet all night with a hat-trick against the Habs. And Scott Stevens signed a 6-year extension in Washington, so he might spend his career there in my universe. Right, one more day off. Cam Neely scored his 300th goal of his career with a goal and 2 assists against Minnesota. Neely is 26 and a 4-star player still, and that was 6 straight games with a goal for him. Alright, St. Louis is in town. They are now 28, 18, and 3, still leading their division, so they are second in the conference. We are 1-0 against them. We won 5-2 in St. Louis just a couple games ago. We could use a win here. Greg Millen's going to be in net for St. Louis. François Gravel in net for us. Go Kings! Oh, we lost 6-5 in overtime. No point. No extra point for us. We were outshot 43-39 in that one. Matt Sundin was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals. Wayne Gretzky was the second star with 2 goals. And Rod Brind'Amour was the third star with 2 assists. Another sellout crowd in LA. Wayne Gretzky opened up the scoring in the first from Luc Robitaille and Mike Gartner. Then he scored again. That was his 40th of the season from Mike Ridley and Joe Rickey. And then Gary Galley scored from Scott Arniel and Andrew Castles. It was 3-0 Kings after 1. Then the Blues scored 3 unanswered goals in the second period, and it was tied at 3 at that point. We went into the third period. The Blues scored twice in a row. It was 5-3 St. Louis, but we showed some character. Dan Gratton scored from Robert Reichel and Gary Volk, and then Alexander McGillney tied the game on the power play with 14 seconds left to go in the third period. That went to overtime. Sadly, Brian Benning played the hero in overtime and scored with just 6 seconds left to go in overtime. So we almost got a point out of this, but we didn't. That's a 6-5 loss. Luc Robitaille extends his point streak to 12 games with an assist in that game against the Blues. And Jeff Courtnall's point streak ended at 12 games. He was held scoreless against Washington. Strong game for Jaromir Jagr. He had 4 assists against the Oilers. Alright, and we're getting ready to play the last game of the month. It's going to be at home against the Rangers. Oh, Steve Weeks is on waivers. Alright, Rangers are 21, 24, and 6. That's not a great record for them. We are 2-0 against the Rangers this season. Let's make it a perfect 3-0 record. I would love that very much. John Van Beesbrook is going to be in net for the Rangers. François Gravel back in net for the Kings. Go Kings! 4-3 win to end the month. That's good. We outshot the Rangers 55-42. Gary Galley first of the game, a goal and an assist. Ken Sutton was the second star with 2 assists. And Luke Robitaille was the third star with a goal and an assist. Another sellout crowd for us. Rangers scored first in the first period, then Alexander McGillney tied the game from Luke Robitaille and Brian Glynn. Then the Rangers scored twice, made it 3-1. Gary Gaddy brought us back to within one from Wayne Gretzky and Mike Gartner. It was 3-2 Rangers after one. Then in the second period, nobody scored, but Gerald Deduck and Jeff Bucheboom face-punched each other. And then in the third period, Luke Robitaille scored to tie the game. That was unassisted. And then Wayne Gretzky with the game winner from Gary Galley and Joe Rickey made it 4-3. That score held until the end of the game. Alright, Luke Robitaille extends his point streak to 13 games with a goal and an assist in that game. Ray Bourque is day-to-day for a couple weeks. That happened against the Flames. Theo Fleury in that same game extended his goal streak to 5 games. He had 2 goals. Igor Liba in Minnesota is suspended. He's going to miss 4 games. Big game for Jeff Courtnall. He had a hat-trick against the North Stars. Paul Coffey has a great game. He had 5 assists against the Islanders. That's indeed a great game. Kevin Stevens in that same game had a hat-trick, 3 goals. Chris Dahlquist is back from suspension in Chicago. Then we are the 31st, so I'm going to sim one more day. Alright, the top-selling jerseys for us: Wayne Gretzky, Mike Gartner, Luke Robitaille, Arthur Searby, and Gary Gaddy. That's pretty much always those. And in the NHL, Gretzky dropped to 7th. Gartner is 14th, Robitaille is 19th, and Arthur Searby is 20th. Oh, Mats Naslund has been put on the trading block by the Sharks. Oh, he's declining fast. He's only a star and a half anymore. Right, and the players of the month were Luke Robitaille and Ron Extall. Alright, so Robitaille had a great month. Alright, so we're still 4th. We're still chasing the Oilers. We're 2 points behind, but we have 3 games on hand. So that's up to us to see if we leapfrog them. And then we still have a shot at catching the Flames. We're only 4 points behind with the same amount of games played. Now on the other side, as it stands, Hartford, oh, the Nordiques have dropped. They started really strong, but they've slowed down a little. Alright, so on the other side, Hartford, New Jersey, and Islanders are at risk of missing the playoffs, and on our side, the Wings still, and then Vancouver and San Jose. Alright, let's take a look at some stats here. Luke Robitaille overtook Wayne Gretzky as the best scorer on the team. Of course, he played 7 more games. He has 89 points. Gretzky has 87 in 43 games. Gartner 76 in 50. Ray Shepherd 55 in 50. Gary Galley is our best defenseman with 38 and 46, and then it goes down from there. Interesting season for Andrew Castles, 35 points in 50 games. That's not too shabby. He's pretty young still. He's what, 21? 22. So that's not too bad. Paul, what is defense coffee? He had the speed to come back. I think that people are misremembering a little bit about Paul. He wasn't the greatest defender, like in his own zone, but he could come back. Alright, the best goal scorers in the league, again, are tied. It's the same 2 at 41, Wayne Gretzky and Brett Hull. The best passer is now Doug Gilmour. He supplanted Sakic in that role. And the best scorer is Luke Robitaille. So our own Luke Robitaille, best scorer in the league here. with 89 points. I was not expecting that. Alright, and our goalie leaders, yeah. Oh, Artus Irbe is has a 902 save percentage, but he played like, what, 7 games maybe? Alright. Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of leaders except in wins, but I think it's sheer numbers. Gravel has been playing a lot, but his save percentage is crap. So 889. Alright, folks, that's that time of the stream, that time of the day. That's the time where the part where I say that I am done for the day because I am going to go and take a nap. So, as usual, I want to thank you for tuning in. Mostly FJ, who's been there since the very beginning, like literally 3 minutes into the stream. There he was. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube and you like the video, please feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment, all of that good stuff. And until I roll this game again, I'll see you folks next time. Thank you.